For the past decade or so, the asylum seeker issue has been one of the most contentious political subjects in Australia. Yesterday, the government announced its Malaysia solution, opening the way for 4,000 refugees to come to Australia from Malaysia in exchange for 800 people who come here via boat. More than 30 years ago, Anh Do was on one of those asylum seeker boats as a 2-year-old refugee. His family fled Vietnam after the war. Anh Do became one of Australia's most successful comedians, and last night his memoir, The Happiest Refugee, swept the Australian Book Industry Awards, including taking out Book of the Year. Russell Crowe's even bought the film rights. Anh Do joined me from Melbourne a short time ago. Anh Do, I've had a look at your bio. Law degree, highly successful stand-up career, filmmaker, actor, best-selling author and now multi-award-winning author. Is there anyone to whom you'd like to say, I told you so?
There's not, but I know that there would be some teachers at school that would probably be surprised.
Why was that? What were you like at school?
Oh, you know, just I'm really chuffed to win the Book of the Year. When I was a kid in year 1 and year 2, I had troubles with reading and writing, and my mum took me to St Vinny's and we bought this big box of second-hand books, and she worked with me to turn that weakness around, you know. So it was a very emotional moment winning yesterday, I dedicated the award to my mum.
I interviewed Cadell Evans' mum last night and I thought she was the proudest mother in Australia, but I bet today your mum's giving her a run for her money.
Yeah, my mum's awesome. I love my mum so much.
The Happiest Refugee tells of your family's journey from Vietnam to Australia. Tell our viewers why your family left Vietnam and then what that journey was like.
Well, my family, my father and my uncles fought alongside Aussie soldiers in the Vietnam War. In fact, one of my uncles was a sapper who cleared landmines for Anzacs. And after the war finished, my uncles, our lives were in danger, so we had to leave Vietnam. 40 of us on a 9-metre fishing boat. 5 days at sea. We're attacked by pirates twice, and at one point a pirate dangles a little kid over the side of the boat and threatens to throw the baby in. And at the last minute he decides to spare the kid, and that's a good thing because that kid is my little brother Do, who grew up to become the 2005 Young Australian of the Year for his charity work.
So you mentioned your mum before. I mean, she must be an amazing woman to have raised 2 boys. They've turned out so fabulously from such a very, very difficult beginning.
Yes, she deserves a lot of credit, you know, and she's one of these, you know, like at the moment she's in Vietnam, working in an orphanage. She just went back for a holiday, saw this place, and she went, you know, I'm going to go back there and help out when I can, and that's the kind of person she is. She actually was enrolled to be a nun when she was younger, and I think, you know, I'm glad she didn't. I wouldn't exist, but anyway.
So what was life like for your family then when you first arrived in Australia?
Yeah, it was hard work and all of that, but, you know, my family just sort of looked around and they said, what about this great country, Australia? And growing up, my parents kept teaching us, kids, as you grow up, do as much as you can and give back to this great country that gave us a second chance. And we're really, really grateful to be here, and you know, we really want to make our, you know, basically really want to give back and, you know, give back to, yeah, to make our stay warranted, I suppose.
What was your childhood like in Australia? Did you fit in? Was it an easy childhood? Did you adapt, I suppose, once your family settled in?
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's differences and all that, but it's all part of the fun, isn't it? I was a Vietnamese kid with a mullet haircut, you know. I had all Westie mates. And geez, a Vietnamese guy with a mullet just doesn't work. No wonder I couldn't get a girlfriend for so many years.
You did a law degree. I know a lot of comedians with law degrees. What is so unappealing to people about the law that it's preferable to stand up in front of a drunken crowd and a microphone under a spotlight and try to make people laugh?
Well, I reckon a lot of people go into law. Like, I went into it after watching movies like A Few Good Men. You know, Tom Cruise, you can't handle the truth, and being all cool and performing. And it's not like that at all. I mean, you're going through contracts that thick, and then you discover stand-up and you go, hey, wait a minute, this is like that. And so that's why I reckon a lot of lawyers turn into comedians.
So how did you discover stand-up?
I was just sort of watching stand-up with some friends, and my friend, he turned to me and he said, you're funnier than this guy, aren't? And I said, no, I'm not. But in my head, I went, I reckon I am. So the next time we went to see stand-up, I put my name down to go up and do a little bit of stage time, and it went well from there.
I should ask about your dad. We've talked a lot about your mum, obviously, who's a very central figure in your life, but your dad less so. Why is that?
My father, he left the family when I was 13, so Mum looked after us, and I didn't see my father for many years, you know, until when I was 22 years old. When I was a kid, my father used to say, "Arn, if you find the right woman, marry her, mate. Look how happy me and your mum are." And he loved my mum very much, but just a little thing called the Vietnam War got in the way, and he started drinking and he left the family. But now he's matured, and he's a great guy, you know. I missed him very much. I didn't talk to him for 8-9 years, but I'm really glad I've reconnected with him.
Yesterday, the government announced its so-called Malaysia solution. You've always been pretty keen not to buy into the politics of the whole asylum seeker issue, and that's obviously a very deliberate choice that you've made. Why is that?
Because I don't know enough about all the policies, and do you know what I mean? And people will quote me, and I'm not really interested in politics at all, so I kind of just stay out of it. Do
people pressure you at all to be like a refugee advocate, or do you see yourself in that way at all?
Yeah, people do pressure me lots, just like you're doing now a little bit.
No, I mean to be sort of a spokesperson for that cause, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely. I do a lot, and I don't want to, because I'm a comedian, and, you know, I'm much more comfortable making people laugh than being a political activist or, you know, something that carries more responsibility. That's why I wouldn't have made a good lawyer. I don't like the responsibility.
Do you ever wonder how your life might have turned out if your parents hadn't had the courage to get on that boat?
Yeah, I do. They had to, because, you know, because of their association with the Anzacs and the Australians, their lives are in danger. But I go back to Vietnam, and my mum goes back, and she works with charities, and I do a little bit too, and we're very grateful. You know, I'm very grateful that I'm here, very, very much so.
And well, congratulations very much on your award, and thanks for making time to speak to us today.
Thank you, Lee.